Welcome back. This is Investor Forever here, and this is week 4. So I'm starting this video a little differently. I'm going to be showing you the dividends that I earned in my first month of dividend investing and also a bonus. So stay tuned towards the end. So on June 12th, I was actually recording videos, but I didn't even realize that I received my first dividend from XPAY. It was 41 cents. And on June 30th, I received $2.57 from SPAXX. And on June 6th, I received 52 cents from JEPI. So these were 3 payments from 3 separate positions, all deposited into my Fidelity brokerage account. And these all happened automatically, and they bought more shares before I even had to open up the app this morning. So that was a very beautiful thing. And that right there is the whole point of this channel, not the dollar amount, but the fact that it happened at all. So this is money that I didn't earn by working. This is money that showed up because I own something. And that's a different relationship with income than most people ever experience. And I'm only 4 weeks into this. So let me walk you through each one of these because they're not all the same and the differences matter. So the first dividend that I ever received was XPAY on June 12th, and that was 41 cents. So XPAY targets a 20% annual yield, and they pay monthly. It paid me before I had even been holding it for a whole month, which was the crazy thing. So that was 41 cents, bought more fractional shares automatically, and I didn't have to do anything. So SPAXX paid me $2.57 on June 30th. And this is the one that I want you to pay attention to because most people don't even know that this exists. SPAXX is Fidelity's government money market fund, and it's where every uninvested dollar in your account automatically sits and earns interest. And I didn't buy SPAXX intentionally. It's just where the idle cash sits inside of Fidelity while it waits to be deployed. If you even choose to, you don't have to. This is just something that I'm doing. It earns around 4 to 5% annually, and on June 30th, it paid me $2.57. So your bank is paying you fractions of a percent on your savings account, and in some case, your checking, depending on who you bank with. My brokerage paid me $2.57 for doing nothing except existing as a customer. And that's the difference between a bank account and a brokerage account if you use it correctly. Now, JEPI paid me 52 cents today on July 6th, and this one hit this morning, the same day that I'm recording this. JEPI is JP Morgan Equity Premium Income. It earns around 8 to 9% annually. They also pay monthly, and the drip reinvests automatically. So the total dividends earned in month 1 is $3.50. Now, $3.50. I know what it sounds like, but I need you to understand what this $3.50 actually represents. It represents shares that I own producing income on their own schedule, regardless of what I do that day. It represents a system that is working, and next month it'll be more because Drip bought more shares with those dividends, which means the next dividend is slightly larger, which means the next reinvestment is slightly larger, and it just compounds and snowballs. So the number is small, but the direction is permanent. So here's the full picture going into week 4. So the total portfolio value is $2,475.24. So in JEPI, I got 1.345 shares. That's $76.15 invested, up 0.91% at recording of this video. Doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Stable, green, and paying monthly. Now, XPAY, on the other hand, I got 1.419 shares, and margin bought some of that, as you can see down there at the bottom. I got $76.19 invested, and that one is down 10.28%. Now, I want to address this directly because I'm not going to hide losing positions on this channel. That's not what this is. I'm showing you the real deal, Holyfield. So XPAY is a higher yield fund targeting 20% annually. Higher yield means higher price volatility. So the price shown is down, but the fund has still paid me a dividend, and the total return is what matters, not the price alone. So I'm watching it, and I'll keep reporting what I see honestly. What I won't do is panic sell a position that I bought with a long-term thesis because of a short-term drawdown at week 4. So we're still very much in the beginning of this. And on the 0.008 XPay shares held on margin from last week, I checked the balances tab and the margin balance is 0. So I'm not being charged interest. It's a classification quirk that I'm still honestly figuring out, but it's not necessarily a real cost. So moving right along. Yeah, so let's talk about what came in this week on the income side. So this is the 4th of July weekend. The market was closed on Friday. Most people were fully off, but my portfolio was still working. I kept the engine running the whole time. So my BPOs came through. I earned about $330. I direct deposited that directly into Fidelity on Thursday. It cleared automatically in the SPAXX and started earning interest immediately while I figured out where to put it. So on the Spark side, because I do gig apps on the side, so I did about 600 behind the wheel this week, and combined was just over about $1,000 in earned income. So the 10% rule that I'm following means 100% goes into the market. That's non-negotiable. Don't matter if it's a slow day, holiday, whatever day, or a record week. The percentage stays the same. The consistency is what makes this a system instead of a hobby. So here's where this week gets interesting, because I'm not adding the JEPI or XPAY this week. I'm opening a brand new position. And the position that I'll be opening is in SPYI. This is the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF. All of these funds are such a mouthful. So here's why this one caught my eye. If you look at this daily chart, the price action is pretty clean. We had a very steep curve, as you see right here. I don't remember actually when it was, but it was in 2025 sometime. Might have been March or so, but it's been holding structure pretty well outside of that. And the trend on the daily is something that I like. So I come from a trading background, so chart structure matters to me. Even when I'm investing long term, I want to own things that look good technically and pay me fundamentally. Now let's talk about what SPYI actually is, because this one is a little different from JEPI and XPAY in an important way, and I did my research on this. So SPYI currently yields around 11.85%, and they also pay monthly. As you can see, I really like that. But the thing that separates it from most covered call ETFs is how it's structured for taxes. So SPYI uses what's called the Section 1256 contracts. This is something that I just learned the other day. So that basically means that the distributions or the dividends that they pay out are taxed 60% as long-term capital gains and 40% as short-term. So compare that to JEPI, which pays out almost entirely as ordinary income, taxed at your full rate. At my income level, that tax treatment difference is going to equate to some real money over time. So SPYI has about $10.1 billion in assets under management and has returned 17.9% over the past year, which for an income ETF is pretty good. So you're getting the yield and the price appreciation all in one ETF. So the next ex-dividend date is July 22nd with payment on July 24th. So I bought this today on July 6th, which means I'm well ahead of that cutoff, and I'll capture that next distribution. So yeah, there it is. My first SPYI shares purchased. If you've been paying attention, like I said, I did earn about $1,000 last week. So 10% of that is $100. And that new position is open right here, SPYI. So drip is already enabled on this account. So the moment that July 24th dividend hits, it goes right back into more shares. So that's 3 positions now. I got JEPI, XPAY, and SPYI. Now they all got different yields, different structures, different tax treatments, but all in all, this portfolio is actually starting to look like a portfolio now. So here's something that I want you to sit with. 4th of July weekend just happened. People were out doing cookouts at the lake, watching fireworks, doing all kind of crazy stuff with their family and celebrating. And while that was going on, dividends were calculating in the background, waiting to hit my account this morning. So SPAXX was accruing daily interest. My positions were sitting there already purchased, already enrolled in drip. I already set the compound the moment that the market reopened. And I didn't have to do anything this weekend to make that happen. I did this weeks ago when I built the system or started investing into it myself. I didn't build this system whatsoever. This is not anything new. People are definitely doing this, but the work that you do today is what pays you on the days that you're not working. So 4 weeks ago, this account had its first purchase of $50 invested in the JEPI and XPAY. I did about $25 a piece. Today, it has over $2,400 in assets across 3 income producing positions, 4 if you count SPAXX. $3.50 in earned dividend income, a new SPYI position capturing the July 22nd ex-dividend date, and a system that ran through a holiday weekend without me having to touch it. Do you see this? Do you see the power of this now? So the numbers are still small, but the infrastructure is what I want you all to really grasp, because the infrastructure is what scales. And this all started because one day I received a penny in interest in my bank. And I had known about this strategy from other creators on YouTube, but their accounts are a lot larger, and I wanted to bridge the gap between people who are completely living out of their brokerage accounts and those who have no clue that this strategy even exists. So all in all, that's week 4. First dividends documented on camera. First SPYI shares purchased in the portfolio at $2,475, and I'm 3 positions deep. So this week, the real estate grind is still in full force. Last week, I did lock up a couple of new investors, so I'll be searching for properties for them. The July 13th deadline to close the deal is right around the corner, and I'll be showing you what that looks like in real time as well. I'll most likely just have something under contract since it's pretty close to that deadline, and it takes time to close. But like I said, I did lock up some new investors who are looking in Georgia and Alabama, so I'll definitely keep you all posted on that as well. And if a closing check hits this account, if I can put that on camera, this episode is going to be something special. So subscribe if you haven't, drop a comment below. Have you ever received your first dividend yet? Tell me the amount. It doesn't matter how small or how big. I just want to celebrate with you. So investor forever. Let's build.